Hello and welcome to this course on software development fundamentals. But the question is, what is it that I should be teaching you? What things should you know? Well, I find that the best way to answer that question is to ask the expert. And the expert in this case is Microsoft. So I'm going to Google and I'm typing in this certification, 98-361. And you'll see, if I scroll down, that there are 6 things which are measured. Understanding core programming, object-oriented programming, general software development, web applications, desktop applications, and databases. But they still seem a bit general. So I can click on this Download Exam Skills Outline. And this breaks it down into quite a few units. For example, understanding core programming is broken down into storage and data types, decision structures, repetition, and error handling. So what I've done is I have taken these requirements that you can see here and I have based my course around them all. And coming up in this course is a lecture called Resources, and it's just attached a series of resources that you might find useful in this course. One of them is this, except I've not presented it in the same way. What I've done is I've broken it down. So instead of having a really long thing, for instance, of how a computer stores programs, memory stacks and heaps, etc., I've broken it down. So now you can see how a computer stores programs is now 1A, memory stacks and heaps 1B, and so forth. And as we work down through this list, you'll be able to see, yes, I have covered this. I now know this particular element. And what I've also done in this course is I have prefixed certain videos, most of them in fact, with the requirements that it will be fulfilling. So you'll notice I'm not starting at number 1. I think, to be honest, if you start at number 1, how a computer stores programs and instructions in computer memory, I think that's very dry. So I'd rather just get straight into it. So I'll start off by looking at console-based applications, for example. We will be creating a console program in Visual Studio Community Edition. Of course, for that to happen, we need to download it. And it's free, by the way. Yours to keep even after this course. Then we'll be looking at methods and classes, and we'll largely take each section in turn. So I don't normally do this for these courses. I normally have to go one from the middle, one from the beginning, one from the end, just to make a good flow. But actually understanding core programming comes first, though I don't do it in this order. So I think there are better orders to do it in. And then we look at object-oriented programming, general software development, web applications, desktop applications, and then we finally have databases. However, there are some elements that I take out of order. For instance, we will be creating console-based applications right from the beginning. We will be looking at arrays, for instance, before we find out how they are stored in memory. So whilst we are looking at a particular section, we won't necessarily do everything in that section. We may reserve some until later on. Now, the programs we're going to be creating aren't exactly in depth. This is a fundamentals course. However, by the end of this course, you will be able to use these structures to create your own programs. So, coming up next, we've got the resources section where you can download a few resources, including not just these requirements, but also the code that we'll be developing as part of this course. And then we'll get straight into it by downloading Visual Studio Community Edition for free.